Hello everyone, this is Marcus McFarland, Family and Consumer Sciences Agent with NC Cooperative Extension in Union County, and this is FCS at Home. Today we're going to do a delicious recipe because it's of course the summertime, which means a wonderful bounty of harvest of fruits and vegetables are on their way. One of them being delicious summer berries. One of my favorite summer berries to taste is blueberries because they're packed with fiber, they have plenty of vitamins, and what's best is they have an important nutrient called antioxidants that's great for your immune system support and regular cell growth. So it's really there to build you up and make you stronger every day. And why not take this wonderful fruit that makes you stronger every day, then put it in the most important meal of the day? That's right, we're gonna do a breakfast, and we're gonna do a blueberry cream cheese French toast casserole. And we'll be using some simple things that you can use around your kitchen. It's great for friends and family if you're doing any type of brunch or just regular breakfast on Sundays or Saturdays. But what we'll do is we'll start off with our ingredients, and that includes some bread. So I'm going to today use a regular loaf of bread, but you can use any variety of bread you want. It could be French, any type of baguette bread, or even challah bread. We'll also be using all of our dozen of eggs that we're going to be using for our mixture, 2 packages of 8-ounce cream cheese, vanilla extract, honey, cinnamon, milk. We're also going to be using some sugar and cornstarch for our sauce, including as well some butter. And of course, we're going to finish and complete our whole entire breakfast with a good box or container of blueberries. So let's get started. I think we'll start off with our getting our pan set up to go for the casserole. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish pan and just take any type of cooking oil and just spray it, make sure it's evenly coated. This is to help make sure that the casserole doesn't stick. Once we're done with that, we're going to take our loaf of bread. And what we're going to do is basically just take, this pretty much uses about 12 slices of bread, but just use how much ever is going to help you with filling up this pan. So basically we're going to take all of our bread, even the little end pieces, and we're just going to tear them up into little chunks and put them around our pan. And you can chop this up if you'd like, if you want to be a little bit more fancier with it. But I'm just going to take some nice little squares and little edges of the bread and just kind of evenly include them in there. Use as much as you feel is needed. Next, after we filled up our pan with our bread, we're going to add in our cream cheese. So we're going to take 2 of our blocks of cream cheese, and I'm just going to square them like I did with the bread. And once you're done with squaring them, we'll just add them into our pan. And so we'll just add them within the crevices. And I'm going to do some small little blocks of cream cheese. The best thing about this recipe is if you want to use your hands, you can. Don't be afraid, just make sure they're washed. But I'm just going to stick them in some of the little crevices in here, and we're going to use both of those blocks of cream cheese to do that. And now that we have our cream cheese layered out within our bread, we're just going to top this off with about 2 cups of our blueberries. I'm just going to sprinkle and estimate about 2 cups. You can always measure, but I don't know. It's something about just kind of using your best guess that always works as well. This is a fun recipe that there's not really a lot of rules except for when we're doing our liquid ingredients. And make sure to also wash your berries because remember, they're coming from wherever they're growing and we want to make sure that they are free from any dirt or debris and clean of any types of bugs that may be on there as well. So I'm going to add just one more little handful more, and I'd say that looks really good and delicious. All right, well, now that we've gotten pretty much our solid parts of our casserole done, we're going to mix together our liquid ingredients. And so like I said, that's going to start off with a dozen of our eggs. And I'm just going to take, it's okay if you crack them any way you have to crack them, just as long as they go in the bowl. And another little great tip, if you have any pieces of the eggshell that go into your batter, use part of the shell to scoop out that piece. All right, we've got our dozen eggs, and I'm just gonna, before we start mixing everything in there and adding our rest of our wet ingredients, I'm gonna try and at least get the yolks of the eggs kind of beaten up so that it makes our whisking all the batter together a little bit more easier. So just try and get a little bit of your yolks that you can just kind of mixed up till it's that yellow color we know when we're scrambling any type of eggs. All right, so now we're gonna add in some of our ingredients. We're gonna do about 1/3 cup of our honey. So I've got some honey here. I'm gonna take off the top so it's a little bit more easier to measure it out. And honey is going to give it that sweetness. It's a great replacement for sugar. And what I like to think about the sweetness of honey as a replacement for sugar is that honey has a lot of sugar content in it, but you only really need to use so little of it. I like to think of honey from a standpoint of less is more. So that way you're not using as much that you need. So I'm going to get some of that in there as much as I can. Another great tip, if you ever use a honey bottle, you can try and twist it to get to stop the honey from flowing out of the bottle. All right, and so I've added a good amount of honey there. And now I'm going to add in my cinnamon. And we're just going to do, like I said, we're going to do 2 teaspoons of our cinnamon. And I'm just going to sprinkle that in there. And then last but not least, 1 teaspoon of our vanilla extract. And be careful because vanilla extract is very loose, so it can easily plop in there. And then, of course, we'll add in our liquid ingredient of 1 cup of milk. And with that, we're going to whisk this up. And we want to be careful as we're whisking it up because we don't want the cinnamon to fly anywhere. We don't want to make a big mess. So it's okay to slowly mix everything together. So I'm going to mix everything up. It's going to become this mixture of kind of the egg and the milk and the cinnamon. So it'll be a little bit of this brown color, and that's totally fine. It's just like you would imagine how you would do French toast in the morning. You'd make your batter and then just dip your bread in there. So for this one, it's a little bit more, we're going to do it a little bit different by actually adding it in on top of our casserole. And then it will make it, it'll get absorbed by the bread and it'll become a wonderful treat that we can all enjoy. Make sure to use your whisk to kind of break up on the sides if you see any types of yolk. Once we're done when we're mixing our batter, we're going to carefully take our pan and we're going to slowly pour it over. We're going to pour the batter over. Our French toast bread. And our blueberries and cream cheese. Make sure to get it as even as possible and make sure to cover as much of the bread in the French toast batter. And once it's about even, sometimes you might want to just kind of slide it over and slide it out to make sure that it's all even. And once you have that done, I'm going to let it sit for just a little bit of time, just to let the bread kind of soak in that egg mixture that we have, like you would usually do for bread for regular French toast in the morning. So we're going to set this aside for just a second, but afterwards I'm going to put it in the oven for 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. Now that we're waiting for our casserole dish to kind of soak in, the bread to soak in, and then putting it in the oven, we'll get started on our blueberry sauce that we're going to do. So we're going to start off by putting a saucepan on about medium heat. And to the saucepan, we're going to add in our cornstarch. And we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And we're also going to add in 1 cup of sugar. And to that, we're going to use a cup of water as well. And all we want to do is basically just mix up the cornstarch and the sugar and make it break down into this thick but smooth syrup. And now our blueberry French toast casserole is done. It smells so amazing. And so I'm going to just plate up a little bit onto my little pan here. It's going to be nice, soft, but creamy. And then I'm going to add a little bit of our blueberry syrup that we made on top. And it looks wonderful and smooth and decadent. It's perfect for a simple brunch or breakfast with friends and family. And here you have it. So you can always find blueberries either at any type of U-Pig farms in Union County, the Union County's farmers markets, or any other local farmers markets, or even at your local grocery store. For more information on local foods and even recipes from our FCS program, visit our county extension website at union.ces.ncsu.edu, and have a great summer with blueberries.